Hello everyone, welcome to the virtual stargazing. My name is Fiona and I work at the Royal Observatory here in Edinburgh, and we are standing on the observatory rooftop at the moment, and we can see lots of things from up here. It's a really good place to be. It's very high up, it's on the top of Blackford Hill in the south of Edinburgh, and we get a really good view of the city. So if we look over to the north, you'll be able to spot some things you might recognise. So we have, does anyone spot, we've got Arthur's Seat over here. So you might have climbed up this big hill just outside of Edinburgh. And then this little bit sticking up here is actually Edinburgh Castle. So we get a really good view on clear days. So if you ever get a chance to come up to the observatory in the future, perhaps on one of our open days, maybe next year, it's a really good place to come and visit. Or just walk up Blackford Hill and see the beautiful view of the city and beyond on clear days. So at the moment, we can see that the sun's just over here. We can also see the moon is up in the daytime at the moment. So the moon's just there to the left of it. And what we're going to do is we can use this special program. So what you're seeing now, which is called Stellarium, we can use this to look at the night sky at any time we like. So we can change the time, we can change the date, we can even change the place where we are. So it's really, really cool. And we can use it to see what we would see in the real night sky. And so we'll imagine that we are standing on top of the rooftop, but what I'm going to do is something very clever. We're going to fast forward time, which is really cool that you can do with this. So if I speed up time, we'll see the sun starting to set. So you may have an idea of where it's starting to set, which direction. So you can see it's about here at the moment. I think we're at about 10 to 7 at the moment, so a little bit later in the day. But if I fast forward, you should see the sun start to set. There we go. There it goes, and the moon with it as well at the moment. And here we go, we have a beautiful night sky of stars, which is fantastic. So we aren't always this lucky in Edinburgh in Scotland because a lot of the time it's actually cloudy. So we don't actually see all of these beautiful stars. So each one of these points of light is a star, so a burning ball of gas, or a glowing ball of gas, millions of miles away from here. So it's really amazing when you look up, and if you get a good dark place to see the night sky, it's really worth going out into the countryside and having a look, because you'll see so many more stars. And the amazing thing is there's so many of them, and each of these stars is part of our galaxy, which we'll talk about a little bit later on. So there's so many points of light. It's really, really beautiful. So I'll show you some things that you can look out for in the night sky. And the first thing to look out for is, if you look closer at the stars, you'll notice that some of them are brighter, and some of them look brighter, and some of them look a little bit smaller and less bright. So that's because some of them are bigger, some of them are smaller, and some of them are further away and some of them are closer. So for example, these stars here, which make up the saucepan shape that you might remember if you watch one of our other videos about the plough or Ursa Major, the Great Bear. So this one's a really good one to spot if you're in Edinburgh. Looks a bit like a saucepan with its handle. So these stars, although they look kind of the same size and brightness, they're actually very different distances away from the Earth. And some of them look the same brightness as the others because they're actually much closer, but they're a lot smaller. So all sorts of distances, all sorts of brightnesses, different types of stars. And as well, if you look closely, you might spot that some of the stars look a little bit different in colour. So you might spot some stars that are kind of a blue-white colour, or some that are more of an orangey-red kind of colour. So this is all about the temperature and where they are in their life cycle as a star. So stars go through these different parts of their life, and they change, and they become slightly cooler, still very, very hot. So the way to remember this when you look at the stars is it's the opposite to the colours on taps. So if you're at home and you've got colours on your taps, usually you have the red colour on the hot tap and the blue colour on the cold tap, right? Now stars are the opposite way around. So like taps, but the opposite. So for stars, if you see a blue-white kind of bright star, that's a very hot star, quite a young star. And if you see something red or orange in colour, that's a little bit cooler. but still very, very hot, because all stars are very hot indeed. So that's one thing to look out for. Look at the brightness, the different sizes of the stars, and also the colours of the stars as well. And once you start looking closer, once your eyes get used to the darkness, you'll see so much more, and it's really, really exciting. I'm going to show you some of the patterns that we see in the night sky. So we've looked at the saucepan shape here, which is part of a pattern called Ursa Major, which is the Great Bear. So here he is. You might know that one. But actually there's so many more constellations in the night sky, and I'll show you all of them just now. Okay, so let's get rid of the Great Bear. There we are. So we've got all these dot-to-dot patterns that people have drawn. So when you look at the night sky, you might want to play a game and try and make your own dot-to-dot patterns and imagine what some of these might be. So this one looks a little bit like a kite, I think. But let's put the art up. So someone's drawn some pictures for us so we can see what these are meant to be. That's actually meant to be a person, a man. We've got all sorts of animals, creatures, all sorts of different things. So people were very imaginative. So something else to look for, which is quite a good pattern, is this one up here. Looks like a kind of W shape. Yeah, so this is Cassiopeia, Queen Cassiopeia, and it's a lady sitting on a throne, which you'll see shortly. So you really have to use your imagination with this one. And she's looking downwards, and she's a really good one to spot as well, all year round. So a W or an M shape. So at the moment, we can actually spot more than stars in the night sky. It's a really good chance to spot some planets. So let's see if I can get the planet names up. Oops. So I think we've got some planets to look for. Okay, so let's fast forward time a little bit. There we go. And if we look over here, we can spot that some planets have appeared. So over to the south, we have Saturn and Jupiter. So kind of south-southwest, so this is quite late on, but even earlier on in the night, you'll be able to see these at the moment. So south-southwest, and if you look, when it starts getting dark, you'll see two bright, they almost look like stars, but the clue for planets is they don't twinkle. So you'll be able to tell that they're a planet because they'll be very bright and they won't be twinkling like the stars do. So we've got Saturn and Jupiter over here, and you might have spotted as well at the moment, we can see Mars as well. We've got Saturn, Jupiter and Mars. Okay, so there's some planets that you can look out for at the moment. So shall we go and visit some of these planets? Yeah, so the cool thing about Stellarium is you can also visit the planets and have a closer look at them. So I think we should go and visit Jupiter first, because that's my favourite planet. It's a very beautiful planet. So let's see if we can go and visit Jupiter. Oh, here we go. So get ready, everyone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Here we go. Zooming all the way to Jupiter. Whoop. And here we are. So if we can go a little bit closer. Wow, there we go. So here's beautiful planet Jupiter with its stripes across the surface. So that's not actually something you could land on. It's not solid. It's not a rocky planet. You might know that it's a gas giant. So it's mostly made up of swirling clouds of gas. And you can see the famous red spot here. And if you manage to get a go at looking through some binoculars, you don't need fancy binoculars to be able to see these stripes and the colours on Jupiter. But the best place to look for pictures is if you search for something called Juno. So this was a mission, a space mission, that got really good photographs from space as it orbited around Jupiter. And it got amazing swirling pictures of all of these clouds with lots of detail. So they're really, really beautiful. They look almost like paintings, but they're the real clouds. So you can, if you search for Juno, so Juno, and you can look for that mission and see the pictures that it took of Jupiter, which is really exciting. So shall we go and visit another planet? I think we should go and visit Saturn. So let's zoom to Saturn. Here we go. Are you ready? Whoop. So we're going to zoom all the way to Saturn. And hopefully it'll appear in a second. It's quite a long way between these planets, you see. Whoop. There we go. So here we are, a beautiful Saturn with its beautiful rings. So it's the most amazing thing about all of the gas giants actually have rings, but most of them are quite faint, so you can't really see them. But Saturn obviously has its really big, beautiful rings. And the rings are actually made of bits of ice and rock. And sometimes these bits of ice could be as big as a house. And sometimes they could be, you know, as small as a dinner plate, so tiny. And there's lots and lots and lots of them in these rings going around. And can you see there's some gaps in the rings? So that's where something like a moon has cleared the path as it's orbited, gone round Saturn. Now, talking of moons, Saturn now has 82 moons that we know about, and there's probably even more. So I think it had 62 not long ago, and then suddenly they found 20 more at the end of last year. So it's actually beat Jupiter now. It's got the most recorded moons in the whole of our solar system. So it's become number one. Sorry, Jupiter. But 82 moons, that's so many. We only have our one moon, and most of the other planets don't have that many moons. It has lots and lots of them. So let's go and visit another planet that we are investigating lots and lots at the moment. So let's go and visit the other planet that we can see in the night sky, which is Mars. So let's zoom out a little bit and see if we can go and see Mars. There we go, go all the way back. There we are, let's see Mars. There we go, zoom all the way in. Have a closer look at Mars. There it is. There we go. So Mars is obviously famous for its red rusty colour, and it's orangey red. And you might know that's because it is rusty, so it's a little bit like if you left your bike out in the rain or something metal. It gets rusty over time because of the water, and this means it goes this kind of orangey red colour. So that's just because there's this metal in the soil on Mars. So it did actually used to have water on Mars. So there's evidence of this. You can kind of see where there might have been rivers or lakes or things on the surface. So we think it might have been a little bit like Earth a long time ago, but now it doesn't have big oceans or anything like that. But there are some astronomers, some scientists that are investigating that there might be underground salty lakes, so big giant lakes in the South Pole. So you see where this bit of ice here. So they think there might be some big lakes under the ground still. So we've sent lots of missions to Mars. We might even send humans to Mars in the next few years. So if you're interested in doing that, you might get the chance to if you're an astronaut, which is very exciting. And we're always looking for signs of life on other planets. That'd be very exciting if we found some aliens. But we're also trying to investigate what Mars might be like, and also what it's like under the surface as well. So you might have heard of Curiosity, the Curiosity rover. That's been on Mars for quite a few years now. There's also a rover that's just landed recently called InSight, which is studying deep down in the core and under the surface of Mars to find out more about that. And actually flying through space at the moment on its way to Mars, which takes quite a few months, hopefully landing safely in February next year. So it's something to look out for in the news, is a rover called Mars 2020. Well, that's the mission. The rover's called the Perseverance rover, and it also has a very snazzy helicopter drone, so something that can fly up in the air and get some photographs from above of the surface. So that's something really exciting, which hopefully will be on Mars early next year. That's really cool. So we're finding out lots and lots about Mars all the time. So let's zoom back to Earth. Here we go, all the way back to the observatory. Now you might have noticed, as well as the planets and the stars, that there's this kind of misty band across the sky. So if I follow it round, you see the misty band. So you might know that that is the Milky Way. So that's looking into part of our Milky Way. And as I said, all these stars around us, they're also part of the Milky Way, which is our galaxy. So it's a big group of stars. Ours is a spiral galaxy with lots of arms. And there are also lots of other different types of galaxies. And our nearest galaxy, our neighbour, is called Andromeda. So to find Andromeda, we can do something where we can search for things. So the cool thing about Stellarium is you can write any object, anything you wanted to see in here. So Andromeda galaxy, whoops, can't spell. There we go. And we can search for that, and then it will find it for us. So if we weren't quite sure where it was, it would find it for us in the night sky. So there we go, it's in the little box. And then what we can do is we can zoom in and get a closer look. There we go. So isn't it beautiful? So if you had a really good telescope, then you'll be able to get pictures like this of Andromeda galaxy. So this is our closest neighbor galaxy, and this is also made up of billions and billions of stars. And there are many, many, many galaxies in the universe as well. So we are part of our solar system with our planets, like the ones we've looked at, all going around our sun, which is our star in our solar system. Our solar system is going around in a galaxy, which is called the Milky Way. And also our Milky Way is part of the universe, which is made up of lots and lots of galaxies. So it just blows your mind. Space is very, very big. So let's travel back again to the observatory roof. There we go. And I think they've got a couple of things more to show you. So here we go. You might have spotted something moving in the sky when we're having a look around. So what I'll do is I'll just speed up time a little bit so you can maybe spot them a bit easier. Let's zoom in a little bit. Oh, I can see one. So did anyone spot this moving? So if I speed up again. There we go. So does anyone know what this might be? If you guess satellite, you're right. So this is actually a satellite, something human-made that we've put up into space and that's going around the Earth. And satellites help us with things like our GPS in our car, so finding our way around, or on our phone if you've got your maps on your phone, and also communications and all sorts of things like that. So they're very handy satellites, and there's lots of them up in space, but you can spot them really easily if you just find a really clear night, look up at the night sky, look really carefully, and if you see an object moving quite quickly, really steadily over the night sky in the other opposite direction, so the stars look like they're staying still, and then this thing's moving across them, then you're probably looking at a satellite. So that's another thing you can look out for as well. There we go. So we'll see if we can spot another one. So let's turn over to this direction and zoom in a little bit. Let's see, so I'll speed up. There we go. Oh, did anyone spot one? Oh, I think I can see one up here. Very carefully. Keep looking. Many more. So see if you can go outside and spot some for real. That'll be a bit of a challenge for you. Okay. So we've nearly come to the end of our stargazing tour, our virtual stargazing. So I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the things in the sky. And what you can do is this program called Stellarium. Hopefully you can see the name in the top left, and I'll post it as well underneath for you. The information is you can go onto a website and you can use this for yourself for free on the website. You don't even need to download anything, and you can change it to any time or date here. So we could set it to the time now. At the moment I think we're actually in August. We can set the time to now. We can have a look at the night sky any time of year, and it's really, really cool. You can zoom in on the planets, you can search for anything you like, and you can do all sorts of stuff with it. So it's a really handy thing to know about, and it's really fun. So what we need to do, the last thing, is we just need to fast forward time again and go back to a beautiful sunrise. So we were facing towards the west last time, so we need to face towards the east this time. So face towards the east, speed up time, and see if we get our beautiful sunrise. You'll notice the stars look like they're spinning around, moving about. You'll see some more satellites whiz by. So it's actually the Earth that's spinning. So the stars aren't moving. It's actually because the Earth is spinning round, and we go from day to night, from night to day. And here we are with a beautiful sunrise. And there's the sun again. Brilliant. So that's the end of the tour. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed seeing some of the things that you can see in the night sky. So remember, at the moment, good things to look out for are the patterns in the night sky, maybe Ursa Major, the Plough, Cassiopeia. They're good ones to look out for all year round. And then at the moment, you can see Jupiter and Saturn appear if you look more to the south, and Mars a bit further around towards the east, I think it was. So they're 3 planets you can look out for. Remember, they'll be bright, they won't be twinkling, and you'll see them just as it gets dark. And also, if you get a chance to see a satellite, maybe, if you look very carefully, and if you get a chance to see a darker night sky, I'd definitely recommend going out into the countryside. And maybe even looking at a real sunrise and sunset. But as we get nearer to winter, it doesn't even have to be that late for a beautiful sunset, does it? So something that we can all enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of the night sky there. And I'll be around if you've got any other questions about space, about things to look out for. And as I said, I'll post something below about Stellarium as well, so you can have a little look at that. Thank you very much. Bye, everyone.